everyone. Welcome to our first episode of our podcast, talking a little bit about what we are and what we do here at Algo Clan. So, I'm Stephanie.
Thanks, Steph, for arranging it. Super pumped up to attend this podcast.
So, today I'm going to be asking Rohan a little bit of questions so that you guys can all get a feel of who we are, what we do here in Algo Clan, and just a little bit about ourselves, and then we're going to switch it up and Rohan's going to ask me a little bit of questions. All right, so Rohan, can you tell us a bit about your background and what inspired you to start Algo Clan?
So I'm originally from finance. Been working on private equity side for so long. I started my career in Singapore, in Asia, and then I moved back and forth to North America, in the US, and in Canada currently. So it's a lot of experience on the private equity side, but I was kind of grinding on the private equity side day in, day out. I realized that maybe there are some outstanding opportunities here on the tech side. Eventually, I moved on the tech side as a product manager and slowly started, pulling the threads on the product management side and eventually moved into the e-commerce world. So for the last few years, we've been building some tools on the e-commerce world covering Amazon and Shopify. So basically helping the mid-market clients on the e-commerce side to build some custom tools so that basically they can achieve more efficiency. They can basically hit their ROI goals because every time a mid-market seller going from 15 to $20 million to the next level of 50 plus to $100 million, that jump, all it takes them to make sure that they're streamlined on their processes, they're streamlined on their tech integrations. And there's so many mid-market players have been stuck with that same range because it's very hard for them to do everything with their small but mighty team, but still because they don't have a lot of technology partners, and those technology partners, they don't have like hands-on experience of building these tools out. So as a product manager, I came to understand that hey, there's a big gap of these custom solutions or even like an ROI improvement spaces. So I jumped in like a few years back and started helping these mid-market players to achieve their dreams and goals.
So also you do have a FBA selling background, which has also brought you into the inside worlds of Amazon and seeing kind of what you thought was missing.
It's very hard for these people if you are not from the tribe, I would say. So I initially started because I also realized that as a product manager, it's very important for you to understand the pain points from your lens as well. Otherwise, you cannot really, build tools, which is the case. Typically, if you go to any mid-market players or any e-commerce players and they're looking in terms of building some tools or even if they're like looking to build some SaaS tools, there's this strong need of a player called product manager who understand how to really build a product, what are the pain points, what are you solving for, versus you being the domain. You understand the space so well, you have zoomed into a pain point, but you don't have the chops in terms of building those products, right? So I think there's a huge gap when we look into this more from a product development perspective versus just only from a dev perspective. And I think that's been very helpful for us really reach out to the clients because we have been there, done that for the last 3 years.
So you would say that that has helped you to tie the gap between the two.
I think that's a great question. So two things here. One is definitely I have a strong private equity background, and that helps me understand like any decision, regardless of software investments or even like tech integrations or any kind of even productivity improvement as a whole from these e-commerce players kind of lens. But I can tell you this that my private equity experience has helped me kind of ground myself in conversation. I'm not coming from a tech background in terms of just, let's just build and build, and then that's how I make money. I just don't do it because I understand like if it's not having an ROI positive impact, there is no way that the stakeholder should really make a decision in terms of building those software, right? So, and then second is I've been in the product management world for so long. One of the big understanding of my product management role is there are like two components here as well. One is like the flow of risk capital. Like majority of these top class product management things are happening on the kind of, non-marketplace driven opportunities. For example, not building in Amazon, not building in Shopify. All of these risk capital flowing into these non-marketplace driven models because all of these investors, majority of the time, they're understanding of that, hey, I don't want to get into this because there is a risk of marketplace dominance, right? So this marketplace can basically lose the ground. They can just, get lost out of this space. But my understanding is due to that, there is I would say like a limited resources on the product management world, which is actually has slowed down the whole product development aspects within these marketplaces. You look into an app within these, kind of marketplaces like Amazon, for example, right? Like Amazon Marketplace has a lot of softwares, like I think it's like thousands now at this point. But if you look into this versus like, look into a different non-marketplace kind of apps, out of these two big pain points, these are one of our key aspects of how we are differentiating ourselves, how we are kind of integrating ourselves, the whole business model into these kind of successful stories of these e-commerce players.
So, Rohan, how do you feel that your company sets aside from the other SaaS programs out in the market?
Okay, good question. So let's take a step back. As I said, like Algo Clan, initially when we started, like our major focus is to build kind of custom software solution for mid-market e-commerce players. That's kind of our first vertical. Second is we also help these e-commerce players to build their own SaaS software so that they can push it. And then third is we also have been building our own ERP, like an Amazon ERP software. We're also building one on Shopify side. So we also have our own productization model at the end of the day. So they're like three vertical we touch every day. And then last point was when you mentioned about the SaaS. So we also have our SaaS platform. So we build our own kind of, Amazon ERP solutions. That SaaS basically helps us or like any e-commerce sellers to make sure that they can do everything all encompassing within that, platform. It's not a Jungle Scout, it's not a Helium. It's definitely a diluted version of those, way diluted, I would say, but it gives you a super power in terms of going from point A to point B, and then there is no fluffy, I would say like fluff of features, because if you go to these bigger softwares, you can see that they keep pushing a lot of features on every day or like more frequently, which are not being used on a day to day. But as a product manager, kind of been dealing with this space so long, I would rather not build some of these extra fluffy features versus like, we build just whatever is needed.